Leadership, from the slide you see there, is a function of knowing yourself, having a vision that is well communicated, building trust among colleagues, and taking effective action to realize your own leadership potential. And that is defined by Professor Bennis. Also, if you look at other definitions from different notes, Management Notes 1998, you see characteristics like individuals who are able to learn and keep learning, determined to listen, watch, and recognize what is happening, committed to change wherever and whenever needed, opportunity seekers who know to identify the best people, that's best people to work with, and get the most out of them. That becomes another definition of a leader. So then, if those two are picked, then we have to think about the hierarchy of leadership. And in the hierarchy of leadership, if you look at the first box, which is red, it says, as for the best leaders, people do not notice their existence. People do not notice their existence. So that is given the biggest percentage. If you're a best leader, then people should not see you. They just feel or hear about you. But they know that you are behind, you are the theory behind any effectiveness or efficiency in management. The next best, that takes almost 100%. But the next best are people, the people honor and praise. Those leaders that are honored and praised by employees and the people they offer services to becomes the best leader. So they are honored and they're also praised. That is the best level. The first level, those who are not seen, but they drive the agenda. The second level are those that are honored and praised. You say, oh, this governor is the best. He has done A, B, C, D. The next best are leaders that people fear. They terrify everybody in the organization. When they are seen, everyone run to their desk. That is also another good third level leadership. They'll be making noise everywhere, shouting. The last component of leadership are the leaders that people hate. The Trump style. Those are leaders that people hate. They have done many things that are weird, that no one would want to identify them, yet they are still the leader. They don't command majority, but they still lead. That is the last category of leadership in the hierarchy. But when the best leaders' work is done, then people say we did it ourselves. So that's the best leader. That's the first hierarchy of leadership. They will say that we have done it, but there was somebody behind it. So the next question that we would ask is, can everyone be a leader? Then we have the trait theory, which talks of research on traits or qualities associated with leadership are numerous in the literature. And so the real irony, or what we call the paradox, is that it is difficult to measure traits. For example, how do we measure honesty or integrity? When you hear that people say, oh, so-and-so is not a man of integrity, how do you measure that somebody is not of integrity? It's very difficult. We want leaders of integrity, everybody shouting everywhere. What is that integrity? We have never thought of the measure because there is no reference point from an objective perspective to measure. That becomes also another concept of definition of leadership. But look at this. When we have traits and when we have skills, on the left side, adaptable to situation, that's a trait. Alert to social environment, ambitious, assertive, cooperative, decisive, dependable, dominant, energetic, persistent, self-confident, tolerant of stress, willing to assume responsibility. Those are characteristics of trait which defines a good leader. Anybody who has this kind of trait would fit into the leadership concept, and they will be described as good leaders. Sometimes, for example, you are here, then the next thing you see is a bomb blast. Or somebody walks into the house with a court order, but you can still proceed on with the exercise. But on the skill side, clever, which means the intellect is bountiful, conceptually skilled, creative, using the right side of the brain, diplomatic and tactful, fluent in speaking, knowledge about group tasks, organized, that is building competencies on administrative skills, persuasive, and socially skilled. This is definition of Stockdale. Now, those are leadership traits and skills. So if you have those qualities, then you are moving into the realm of high-level leadership. Then we have the functional theories. This is task-oriented. We look at the three pillars, task, team, and individual. At the center, the three pillars creates that kind of leader. When we talk of task, a leader must set goals. And we think about the methods and the processes. And then we have what we call the effective interaction. Talk of team morale, team roles. Some of us are doing it alone, but do you have a team around you? So that component becomes the functionality in the leadership concept. When it comes to individual, this is attention to behavior or feelings or coaching. You look at yourself in the position of leadership. That theory also is self-centered and is proposed by John Adam. So the other theory that we can form the basis is leaders' behavior and actions focused, which means the behavioral theory. Here we look at the behavior itself. We look at different people have different behaviors that are categorized differently. For example, we have leaders that are autocratic, democratic, they always want the majority to win, consultative, they get skills from different people, persuasive. But this doesn't provide guide to effective leadership in different situations. So this is also a theory when you look at it from the behavior perspective. Then finally we have the situational leaders or contingency leadership. Those leaders that adjust according to situations that exist in them. Their focus is on two domains, that is the competency domain and the motivation domain. When you talk of competency, we look at the hands-on, live observable skills. And here you are looking at low competence, some competence, high competence. you know, there are people who are said to be highly competent. So then they lead others by their competence. They might be doing it physically, but they may not have intellect. But because of that leadership, they become leaders. An example is Bill Gates. He was a dunderhead in classroom, but he has moved the entire world in areas of research and innovation. So that becomes a competent leader in the business market. Then we have those that are motivated, highly committed, servanthood. People who are driven by the environment, not inner self. Good example of motivated leaders are people like Obama, people like Mandela. They are driven by self for others, not by self for self. So these are people who adjust to the situation around them, so they look at people and they move with them. That is also a theory. And this is the last leadership theory. Its leaders are inspired. They develop trust and encourage creativity and personal growth. They develop a sense of purpose to benefit the group or society, not self. It goes beyond the self-interest and an exchange of reward, so they don't care about how much they're paid, but they move to ensure that everybody is empowered to become a leader in their own capacity. And so this takes us to the leadership styles. 4 of them are identified. There are those that are directive-oriented, focused. They are just telling people, go and do this. I want 10 bottles of milk. Go and get them. Go and arrange the chairs. Those are directives. They give you directions to go and do something. But we also have those that sell the idea, just coaching everyone to do what they're supposed to do. That is also another style. A team leader is like a coach or a captain of a football. Normally they encourage teamwork, and also they motivate individuals who are in the team. So if you're a leader that does not motivate others, then that component of team leadership is missing. They also provide clear structure, which means that they set the mission, the purpose, and they clarify roles to avoid conflicts and responsibilities, and they allocate tasks which are very specific for different individuals, and set objectives. So this is the showing concept, how to do. Then normally they have to clarify working methods, practice or practices, and the protocol, so that the team members do not collide when they're delivering their services. Their focus is on performance, and which means they anticipate challenges, monitor the performance, delegate, and provide continuing professional development support for their team. So those are critical characteristics that some of you probably may have identified from the previous exercise. But there's what we call the critical traits of a team leader. It relies on responsibility vis-a-vis accountability. So it also has the concept of authority with it. So those 3 pillars are part and parcel of the team leader. Now, when it comes to accountability, responsibility, and authority, many of us take accountability for granted. But as a team leader, your number one priority should be to be accountable, to be responsible, and to build the culture of exercising authority when you are delivering or leading a particular team. And of course, we know accountability is a state of being reliable and answerable to every action that you have taken or others have taken on your behalf. And that's why sometimes you find those who are in leadership, they take responsibility even for the messes that have been caused by their line workers. Now, what is the purpose of leadership? For me, the purpose of leadership is to create more leaders. Hey, this is a challenge. Many of us want to be in leadership forever. And anytime they see any potential leader, they want to kanyaga. You are not going anywhere. You don't know how to do things. You can't do it this way. But they will never give you opportunity to grow also as a leader. But the real purpose of leadership is to create leaders. You are dying, in quotes. Time goes on and you will go. So you have to create leaders. That is the real focus of leadership. So then we have 7 keys of effective leadership. And I will go through them because they are critical when it comes to enhancement of our leadership. The first key is self-awareness and self-insight. This one is very much focused on one thing, that change starts with me, which means that it is you who should begin the change process as a leader. So don't say that you didn't do it for me. Where were you? If you find that the windows are not closed, and you are in the office and you are the leader, why must you look for staff to close the window? Now, earlier on I said that it's not easy to measure integrity, because your integrity may not be. What you think is your integrity, is an integrity, may not be the same as mine. In this case, be tough but fair. You have to be tough but be fair. If it was turned the other way around, will you still sustain the toughness? Then unleash on and others' potential. Learn and grow. We said leaders create leaders. So grow others, grow yourself also. We keep on learning from each other. Even the latest employed or engaged an employee can be learned from, isn't it? So a leader must be able to grow others. Then make team members successful. You are a successful leader as they are. So if your team members are successful, then you become. Would you mean if somebody told you one of your departmental member has won an award, don't you think that the entire department is celebrating? So then you must also learn to make others be successful. Then you become a success in your leadership. And then lead from where you are. You do not have to wait for somebody. You don't have to wait to become the CEO or become the head of department to lead. You can be a leader from where you are, even if you're a driver. They say there's one driver here that if he's not there, I'm not boarding any vehicle. Because they know how to drive people around. There's one house help that if she's not there or he's not there, then things don't move. They are leading from where? When you go to the house is very clean. But did you know that there's a baby and that is a placenta? Yes, but somebody will see a couple somewhere here. We have some trees, we have a tree that is being cut, but of course we can see the leg is here and the baby, the nose. That is a very interesting picture. How? Oh, the baby is here. And this is the placenta. And this is a couple. We are also seeing a couple. And we see water, Lake Victoria or a river. Or Indian Ocean. But what is from this picture? Your life is like it is because of what you choose to think about, or focus on, or believe. The question is not what you look at, but what you see. Some people want to see what they want to see. So they will say, this one, for me, I just see what I want to see, which might not be the same as what is supposed to be the reality. So what you may see in those that you lead as a leader may not be exactly what you think. And so, this other picture, the same. Who is holding who? Who is sitting down and who is standing? Is it a lady or a man? This? Both. Is it? Did you notice that the girl is sitting? And the boy is hugging the neck? What? Now, which side of the brain is being used? Which side? What do you see? But there's also evil. You can see good, but you can also see evil. So sometimes you want to, instead of seeing good in your employee, you see evil. Because that's what you want to see. Then it becomes a point of conflict. Who is chasing who? Is it the rhino chasing the dog, or is the dog that is chasing the rhino? You know, however small you can chase a big animal. We only need the right attitude. So attitude becomes everything. You know, some people are too old, but they appear like 18 when they are 90. So it doesn't matter which age you are, you can do many things as a leader. Those pictures remind us that the keys to leadership depend on 7 critical keys, which I have mentioned. Now, it is my default, or we can say attitude could be depicted by the kind of words we use as leaders. For example, when I meet you, Gordon, how are you? I can't complain. Not too bad. Surviving. These are the critical words we use even in our workplace. How are you today? I can't complain. I'm surviving. These are indicators of negative, because you're not going anywhere with it. I am broke. Even if you have 5 shillings, you should say that I am loaded. Then you move forward. Then indicators of positive attitudes. I'm very good. I'm excellent. gorgeous. Oh, the weather is cool. Today was very good. You become positive, that is positive attitude. So we learn to use this even in our work setting to become great leaders. Because even the Bible says out of the mouth, out of the abundance of the heart, so you confirm. Now, most of the problems that we have in leadership really depend on attitude. And I want to say this as I leave, that technical skills, for a study that was done at Harvard University, that is on successful managers, this was asking retrospectively to rate the importance of technical skills, job, and attitude in terms of effectiveness. The results indicated that 85% depend on attitude. For you to be successful, you don't need PhD. Yes, you don't need PhD. PhD is in the second level. You need right attitude. You don't need to wait to become, you say, today I will become a professor. I'll lead this country. You become a professor and you still go and get under a small hat for a witch doctor. So your witch doctor tells you to remove your shirt, you remove. And you are a professor. So who is more brighter? The witch doctor becomes more clever. It's a PhD holder. And job knowledge only took 10%. So then the experience we talk about is only 10%. So which means everyone given chance will exercise right attitude and become a great leader. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change that tire. That is where attitude takes us. So all our problems are surrounded on attitude. So we have to learn. Look at this. If you want to be successful in leadership, we have the past, the present, and the future. For the past, you must forgive because success depends on FGH. Forgive. You can forgive yourself and forgive others. There are people who have never forgiven themselves for the things they did. So every time you are reminded of, did you know that you are a thief? Did you know that you colluded with an accountant and signed a check that had over 10% increase? You know? So then you don't forgive yourself, you are still in the past. Who has changed your life that you need to thank? And finally, the future is hope. You must have a vision, you must have a dream, and you must have trust. Choose one of the following. Attitude is what? Attitude is, if you were given a chance to say what attitude is, it feelings and emotions? All of the above scores 90%. But then attitude is just thoughts and beliefs. So they are the mental things you have collected in the mind, summed from summation from 1 up to n. In Azen's concept, he says, the belief strength weighed by the value of that belief multiplied from belief number 1 up to the last chord of belief. Mathematically, it gives you an attitude. So thoughts and beliefs gives you the attitude. So attitude is mental, not emotional or behavioral. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. And if you are anxious, you are living in the future. So then, if you are at peace, then you are living in the present. So where are you going, and why do you go back? Live at present. Our Father who is at, give us our daily, and did you ask of the bread today and tomorrow? So live today, tomorrow will take care of itself. So peace comes at the middle, the stability. Good. Professor.
Great leaders emerge because of the need to do what? To accomplish a certain problem that is commonly affecting their people. What was the problem with Moses? What problem was Moses facing? What problem was Moses accomplishing? He's one of the people cited as a great leader. Yes. 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 But what was the main problem why he's recognized as a great leader that he had helped accomplish with his people? Delegated duty. Any addition? The great accomplishment. There was a problem that he helped. Leading his people out of Egypt. What was the great problem that Nelson Mandela helped to accomplish?
Okay. So Nelson Mandela, his greatest achievement is that he led the black people out of apartheid oppression. That is the white minority oppression in South Africa. So there was segregation whereby black people could not attend particular schools, even access to social amenities. So
very good, very, very good. So all these people that we see as good leaders, first there must have been a common problem affecting their people. And this common problem formed the shared vision that puts together this group around this leader who was committed on addressing this problem, and therefore together with these people they managed to overcome. So at the end of the day, Moses, despite finding the river swollen on his path, being followed by soldiers, he was committed to that, and eventually, though we are told he died before he entered the promised land, but the people managed to move from the promised land. Nelson Mandela also, with this commitment, whether he was being jailed for 27 years, with that commitment he helped to inspire the South Africans towards a South Africa without apartheid. But they faced problems. And as we all know, we face problems when you try to do a simple task, even like the one we had today. How did they overcome? By planning. So you start by planning. And how do you plan? Why do you think he made us form teams? So that we are able to get the ideas from various team members. So the first thing, when you have that vision, you need to make sure you are sharing that vision. And how do you get feedback? You do not get feedback if you do not listen to the team members. So they help you to concretize and to inspire the team. The team feel that now, once they formed a team, whatever they are moving, whatever they are trying to accomplish is theirs, not his. And without that common vision, we do not have a team. Dietary diversity. Though some of us still stick on ugali, breakfast, ugali lunch, and even sometimes ugali for breakfast. But that is discouraged. If we want balanced nutrition, we should be able to have dietary diversity. Also, when we are in a team like that and we want to accomplish, we want the participation of everybody, the input of everybody. He could have sat here and given us lectures about what is meant by strong and weak leadership. But he doesn't have the experience of each one of us, who may have more practical experiences of weak and strong leadership. So we would have missed the inputs that the various groups, the various members of the groups. So an important aspect of leadership is that simple art of listening. Listening. We must be able to listen. Because as we move along, there will be problems, and we could even lose some members in our shared vision to accomplish because we have not listened. Either people are frustrated because their inputs are not being listened to, or we are continuing doing the wrong things because we are not giving chance to others also to tell us, yes, what you have suggested was good, but this was tried several years ago and it failed because of ABC. So we will continue and fail because we did not listen to a member within the team. Some of our teams again took particular care to ensure that there was that equal participation. So once our leadership ensures there are effective teams to accomplish whatever we want, participation of the members becomes important for us to achieve our goals. The person who is keeping quiet may be the one who has the best contribution. So without the team dynamics of somebody in that team saying, but we have not heard from so and so. Now the person who says we have not heard from so and so, that is the leader. Okay? So because that person may be shy, but in that shyness they also have their experiences which have not been shared by others. The definition of the vision should also be accompanied by clarifying that vision and clarifying the problem so that we all understand it. I'll start some groups, and there are interesting discussions because what was understood by strong leadership, is it the same as good leadership? Is strong leadership the same as good leadership? So things like this you should have been defined at the start. That in this case, strong leadership, we are meaning good leadership. Idi Amin, for instance, was a very strong leader. Was he a good leader? So you needed to define your terms. Take some time and define that term so that you move forward together. Because it was interesting in some groups, the discussion, the concepts of weak and strong, which look very, very easy and clear, were used as good and poor. So you need to define if you are going to use them as so that you move together. So just to finalize is that every day in whatever position, whether in households, whether in class or wherever we are coming from, you are in a position of leadership through your contributions. And as we've just seen, when you are in that position, there are so many things that you can do. We are not mentioning the issue also of values, which is very important, because that group could have had a very good report by simply sending somebody to go and steal what the other groups are discussing. Then you come and say, we've had, these are very good points, but you have not contributed to them. So again, leadership without values, without integrity. So you find these days in most organizations, unfortunately, we have taken up this just but as abstract statements. I'm sorry to say you go even to our facilities which don't offer good services, and you'll see this is our vision, this is our mission, is to give service within 5 minutes. And the patients will die outside that facility after staying there for 5 hours or 10 hours. So we need to internalize these values in leadership. Unfortunately, in our national setup, we see very many leadership, which is the wrong leadership because of lack of values. We recently had a tragedy in Solai. Who was the biggest leader there? Those of you who followed the news about Solai. Who do you think would have been have been the biggest leader in that tragedy? The young lady called Waruguru. Who heard of Waruguru? What did she do? Because now people were dying. Children were dying because there is mud in their nose. They are arriving there with mud all over. They live left in that state, they will die within minutes or hours. And we are told the doctors ran away. So the poor woman remained there alone. What was the problem? The problem was now saving lives of these people who have been affected. And what was she simply doing? Applying the first aid skills that we have all learned. She's not a specialist in any medical field, but just a community health worker with first aid, and she managed to help to take responsibility and save so many lives. How much was she charging? Nothing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think you realize that the focus was on the process, not the... Did you realize that? And we had some specific benchmarks which has been marked appropriately, and the message is home, isn't it?